The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA.
This episode is brought to you by Walmart. New beauty is in bloom at Walmart, and it's all about springtime radiance. From Drybar, Tula Skincare, and hundreds more available online, Walmart has the premium brands you want and this season's on-trend products for flawless, glossy hair and hydrated skin. Big name beauty brands? Check. The things you love? Check. Find trending spring beauty and all you need to look and feel gorgeous at Walmart, on app and online.
Welcome back to the Sub-Zero Coffee Podcast.
Whoa. Mate, the Sub-Zero Coffee Podcast. There's two of us now. There's another sheriff in town. We've got to come up with a new name for this.
Oh. Well, I mean, we talk about coffee a lot. I mean, it's
just coffee.
It's just coffee.
Let's
take two. So I am Kirk Pearson.
I'm Rowan Cook.
And it's
just coffee. That is the name of our new podcast, coming in hot.
Yeah. No, I'm glad we're... sorry, I forgot about that. I'm really glad we're teaming up now, and we're teaming up for the It's Just Coffee podcast. It's feels good to be back in action.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I appeared on your podcast a little while ago.
Yeah. That's how this bromance started.
Exactly. That's
first
where it
the
all
wines
started.
were flowing deeply into your eyes.
I think we spent the first 20 minutes of that podcast talking about Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
And Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, just on the subject, what we were talking before, I have maxed out my Zonai battery twice. So like you can go through the Zonai battery 2 times. And basically if I build a craft right now, and there are some wonderful crafts you can build, I'm there with Zelda.
You can go forever.
I'm there with Zelda.
Right. So basically we've joined forces. We've come together. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rowan. I run a coffee company and kind of social channel called Golden Brown Coffee, where we try to teach people how to make better coffee at home and just better coffee in general. We make lots of videos, socials, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. And Kirk, tell us about you.
Yeah, so I formerly hosted the Sub-Zero Coffee Podcast where Rowan and I first met. So I interviewed Rowan, and I think we decided it was so good that it's like, well, okay, well, let's just do this together in perpetuity. So here we are. But I just started my own cafe, which we'll touch on in a bit. I just started my own cafe, which is called Project Zero Coffee. Open Monday to Saturday, 7 till 3 p.m., 140 King Street. I will see you there.
And I'm just going to cut you off right there. I've been in a few times now. I've got to say, best espresso I've had at a cafe in such a long time.
Okay.
So well balanced. Honestly, like coming in, a lot of the time when you're in Melbourne, you're getting those sharp acidic coffees kicking you in the guts. And then sometimes if you're going, it's just dark and bitter. And it was that perfect balance of enough body, enough sweetness. It was that kind of chocolatiness coming through, but then that nice sweetness just coming through at the end with that little bit of acidity. Perfect. Loved it. So honestly, go down if you're in Melbourne. You got to go and check it out.
And that's not even the best drink on the menu either.
Exactly.
It's the cold brew.
Yeah, the cold brews, that's fire. That's so good.
And if you really want to be friends with me, come to the cafe and ask me about the ice machine. We've got the world's best ice machine.
Oh my God. He'll take you behind the bar and show you. This thing is beautiful. It is a work of art.
The Hoshizaki.
Yeah, the Hoshizaki.
Yeah, so what's on the docket for today, Rowan?
I mean, I thought we'd just do a little bit of an introduction. We'd talk about ourselves, who we are, what we kind of want for the podcast. Also just popping out, I don't know how many people are going to be listening to this very first episode, but also what you want to see from it and what you kind of want to get. I think we want to deep dive into the world of coffee with amazing people. In next week's episode, we're going to have Hanny in, who just competed in the Brewers Cup, in the National Brewers Cup, alongside you, who competed as well. We're going to get a bunch of coffee experts in, but I think we also want to get some different people in who just love coffee. You know, I want to look at athletes, I want to look at comedians, celebrities, anyone that just kind of wants to come in and has an opinion on coffee.
And I think that's exactly where we both sort of align, because we both, for our line of work, we dive quite deep into coffee. You know, we work on a lot more of the complex ideas of it and putting it into practice. But I love simplifying it to people and making it more open for people to come and enjoy. So I don't want people thinking, oh, you're a coffee snob. It's like there's a difference between a coffee snob and someone who just likes coffee. And you know, I hope more people can listen to this podcast and feel like they can understand coffee a little bit better, and that it's not all that complex. Because at the end of the day,
it's just coffee. It's just coffee.
It's just coffee.
To the people in the back,
It's just coffee.
Yeah, that's how people recording the pod, just joining in on the fun. And I think that's actually a good point of what you're talking about. I think It's Just Coffee kind of personifies that. One of the things that it stemmed from is I put out a lot of videos and that kind of thing. And when they get a lot of views, you start getting people into that are not from the coffee world. And one of the most resounding comments that you get is, "It's just coffee," followed by a lot of rude words and that kind of thing. And I thought it was kind of a nice way, as we talked about it, to also just bring us down to earth when we're diving too deep into the sauce and doing that. Like, at the end of the day, it is just coffee. And that's the best thing about it. It's coffee, love it, and enjoy it however you want.
Yeah, well, I guess that's one of the things I love about coffee. There's one for everyone. There's decaf, if you don't like it. I mean, there's literally one for everyone. So I think,
Speaking of one for everyone, one of the segments, I think we want to come up with some segments. Obviously, over the next few weeks, we'll come up with some different stuff. We'll bring it in. But one of the things I want to do is when we have a guest in is ask them what's their go-to order and what do they like. And so I guess there's no better way to start than right here with you, with Kirk. What is your go-to order? If you could only have one coffee ever again, and you had to have it, what would it be? Actually, no, that you'd probably say something wild. Just what's your go-to coffee, your everyday coffee?
honestly, just a well-made flat white.
There you go.
Yeah, just everyone beats around the bushes. You got carbonic maceration. This, we got peach infused this, that, and the other. But honestly, just a well-made flat white will do the job. And everyone, a lot of people will say, "Oh, I'm simple. I just like a latte." Well, so am I. It's
and a latte and a flat white are the same thing. So
the variety, I don't need anything else. I don't need anything else. But back at you, Rowan. Ditto. What's yours?
I think I would have to say a long black, which feels like a kind of throw off of where you go. Because love a double espresso, but it's literally out of a convenience thing. And what I want to do, I want a long black just because I want it to last a little bit longer. First thing in the morning when I'm making my long black, I just knock back a double espresso, which the Italians will be like, that's what you're meant to do and that. But sometimes when I'm working, I just want something to sip on for a little bit longer and take my kind of time with it. And then I love milkies, but, milk probably just doesn't sit with me, and I probably push it too far sometimes, and the body is saying no, but sometimes you just got to enjoy it.
Okay. You're going to love my answer to one of our other segments later on then, because I won't spoil it, but we'll break that down a bit later on. And so what are you doing day to day? So obviously you're the face of Golden Brown Coffee. Golden Brown is a conglomerate media corporation nowadays that's spanning multiple continents. It seems like.
Not quite, but no, it's going well. Well, we're in GB headquarters right now. Instead of taking over a studio and that, we just decided to take over an old abandoned pizza shop. It's got a beautiful bar set up here, fully functioning kitchen in the back, big old pizza oven that we got to get going, cranking one day. I want to see your dough recipe. Yeah,
well, I need to establish one first.
You need to make one. I'll teach you.
Well, I just got onto the series on Netflix, Chef's Table Pizza.
Mamma mia.
Yeah.
That is a spicy meatball of a show.
Yeah, well, episode 1's with a guy called... Oh, come in with the assistant. Come on.
We need someone back here just Googling as we go. Look, we've got someone Googling. Keep talking and we'll come back to the name.
Yeah, anyway, so there's
episode 1 of Chef's Table Pizza.
Yeah, and it's basically like there's 6 episodes, all these magnificent pizza chefs going through, showing the way they make pizza, and it's just fantastic. But anyway, long story short, I want to go to I want to have my 30th birthday here in this building, and we'll host a...
What a way to drop it on me. He just wants to do it on a podcast, so I have to accept. No, we would graciously have your 30th birthday here.
Yeah, and I'll get on the pizza.
Day-to-day operations. That's what you're asking me. Well, we have a few different operations we're kind of doing here. We obviously have the coffee side of the company where we're roasting and selling coffee. Then we have our media side of the company where we're doing a bunch of videos, short form, long form, kicking off that. So basically once a week, we just knock out all of our social videos filming. So I'll have a list of just running ideas that I do. We just smash out anywhere. How many do we do? We've got our DP, Director of Photography, over here. I reckon we did 16 last Monday. We did 16 videos in one day. So we're pumping through those. And then we also kind of run like a food and beverage kind of media company side where we're working with some other clients and doing some work there. So we have maybe a team of about five or six now working with us doing that. That's out. And we're roasting our coffee in the States as well now, so moving into that international kind of level. And that's Golden Brown Coffee.
Excellent. I've completely gone blank. I've lost my question.
That's
there.
all right. Well, your question for me was, what's my day-to-day life? I mean, one of the big things that I think we're going to follow with Kirk, and we're going to follow as we continue on through doing this podcast, is what it's like to start a business. Because Kirk is on that endeavor right now. He's how many weeks in? 1 week in, barely.
It'll be 2 weeks tomorrow.
2 weeks tomorrow. And how long have you been kind of setting up this cafe?
Well, I mean, I'll start from the beginning. So it was during, I think, 2020, I met my now business partner, Johan, and we were just discussing, we were at a cafe that I was running at the time, and we were talking about how I'm making these really brilliant coffees, and I had this really awesome frozen coffee menu. And we were both just talking about how the model for making coffee at a shop is broken. Well, it's not proper because cafe owners have to absorb so much of the cost, and then it's kind of built in a labor-intensive way, so it requires a lot more staff, et cetera, et cetera. So we've constructed we wanted to build a cafe where the methods are such that you can use a lot less coffee to make the same amount as another cafe would. You can do it in a lot less time, and you can build a repeatable and sustainable business model. So it begun back then. We sort of have been looking for a site for like a year and a half now, and then we finally got one in the city of Melbourne, and we finished the construction a few weeks ago and started trading 2 weeks ago tomorrow. And damn, I've lost like 5 kilos in 2 or 3 weeks or something.
I was going to say, you're looking good.
Yeah, if you want to,
you're looking slender.
If you want to lose weight, just start a cafe. Yeah, you'll just the old stress diet. But it's great. It's a good challenge. And the growth from like day one to now, it's crazy because we're making connections with people, and then it kind of spreads like wildfire. One of the guys that has helped me, been a mentor for me, that's for while I'm setting up this cafe, he said one of the best things that you can do for your cafe is just word of mouth. So it's like, we haven't done a whole bunch of social media, but one person has the coffee and goes and tells 4 others, who goes and tells 2 or 3 others, and then just spreads like wildfire, and then more people know about it. So it's quite amazing. Yeah,
and I have to say, you were talking before the show, you were already saying like 2 weeks in, you're already turning over hundreds of cups of coffee in a day, which is unheard of for, cafes just kind of starting up, especially when there's not like big names kind of behind it on the outside or that kind of thing. Like that's just starting from scratch and going bang.
Yeah, it's interesting because our primary thing is coffee. It's not like making a panini or like a sandwich or something like that.
Oh, there seems to be a little bit of disdain there in the way that you say panini or a sandwich. How do you tell us what you think about the sandwich boom happening in the world?
I feel like there's a lot of sandwich shops and or panini shops that are really killing it in Melbourne right now, and kudos to them.
Stefanino Panino, just a friend of mine. Great
Piccolo Panini Bar close to me. I've seen them. They smash it. They like my thing's coffee, and it's not like a new thing. It's kind of like an original staple, but we sell more cold brew than we do lattes.
Right.
So we've made this cold brew recipe that's like, for me, I've worked so hard on it. Like I've spent hours and hours just going over the details of how I'm going to make this in what combinations, and we'll go down that rabbit hole in future podcasts about how we make coffee and come up with recipes. But like to just spend so much time like going to such painstaking lengths to make this cold brew, and then for people to appreciate it, it's awesome. And now we sell more cold brew than we do lattes.
But maybe in you saying that, this could be my extra hot take with 2 sugars. That I'm going to come in here and say, Starbucks got it right, and their drinks menu is amazing. The problem with Starbucks is, don't look at it as a coffee shop, look at it as a drink shop, because it's not about the coffee, it's about all the drinks that they have, all the ice drinks, all the different flavors and that kind of thing. And I think we're starting to see that come through into the Australian culture and into cafes, and maybe not the broad menu, but we're starting to see more signature drinks that are kind of using coffee as a recipe. The iced coffee that you're making is probably a lot more coffee forward than that. But I think it's interesting to see all the different signature drinks that we're seeing pop up with different ingredients, different bitters, creams, all that kind of stuff.
I actually really enjoyed it and found it like really refreshing. Can I just go ahead and give a spicy take with 1 sugar now?
There we go. A chili coffee, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the Melbourne coffee scene, having worked in it for so long, is quite boring at the moment. And
The Melbourne coffee scene is quite boring.
yeah, as someone that's worked in it, I feel like it's, for me, I always like growth, and I don't feel like anyone's really doing anything differently. There's constraints around that as well. Like, everyone's got budgets, and not everyone's day to day is just keeping up is sometimes a challenge for being a cafe owner. So which I'm learning now.
I agree with you completely, and as well in the coffee scene, there's now, back when I first started, there was only a few good coffee shops. Now you can't walk one block without getting a really good coffee. So you got to go out and do something interesting. You got to go out and do something different, whether that's a different drink, a different style. I don't know what it is, but we need to be more creative in that Melbourne coffee scene. Also, we were kind of seen around the world as like kind of the pinnacle of coffee in a lot of places. We need to keep growing that and keep elevating it. We can't become static, because there's a lot of places around the world that are kind of elevating and maybe taking over.
Yeah, some terrific cities across the world. I think Singapore's a market that's
incredible.
That does great. And
South Korea,
lucky enough to have been there. Japan, they all make fantastic coffee. And the Melbourne Spicy Take 2 Sugars #2, unprompted.
Oh,
the Melbourne best coffee in the world mantle is under threat. It's under threat.
If not already taken.
If not already taken. Okay.
Maybe. I mean, we do have the barista champions coming in there, but I think from a culture, you can't just pin it off who's going to be the barista champion of the year. I think it needs to be built off that culture and what that experience is.
Yes. And look, let's just put it out there as well. No, running a cafe or owning a cafe, developing new things, it's not easy. I think part of why I was saying before, I lost a bit of weight in the last few weeks. I honestly feel like it's because I've been drinking so much coffee. I'm getting so dehydrated, and like there was one night where I just sat at home ill. I'm like, because I had drank.
It's pulling and it pulls the water out of you as well. Coffee, so you're just getting shredded too. Is your six pack just like pulsating?
No, unfortunately not. That part didn't happen for me. But yeah, like the Melbourne coffee scene, it's great, it's vibrant, and it is always going to be one of the best, one of the OGs. But we're going to make it greater.
Yeah.
Again.
Make it greater again.
Yeah.
Donald Bean coming in with that tag.
Yeah, and please don't take that as a political thing.
We're going to put on, I'm going to get hats made, make Melbourne coffee great again.
Yeah. No, I kind of like having a podcast. Let's not. But yeah.
Awesome. I wanted to, and I love the idea of checking in on you each week, talking about the progress of the cafe, what you're kind of doing. I've seen you entered the Brewers Cup. I saw you trying to run a cafe. I saw the life suck out of your eyes as you were doing this, even when you've perked up now, you're here, you're feeling the vibes. That's what you do, you switch on. But when you came in, you could just see there's that little bit of like something is being taken out of you. How are you feeling mentally? And what is it like going through this process and trying to maintain relationships, trying to maintain friendships? What's that been like for you?
It's tough because I don't think everyone really. I know this is like not a permanent thing, and things will settle down for me. And like I've got a great team that works with me. Like we've hired great staff, and I've got a great business partner. So they really shoulder. They take a lot of the load off at times, but sometimes I'll work 10 or 11 hours, and then I'll stay back after and do some other things to try and improve things. And, I'll get a phone call from someone and, that I haven't returned their call for 2 weeks, and they're like, well, Kirk, you're a jerk. It's even like my dad. My dad's been really good to me, and I can't always answer the phone to him. Some of my family, my girlfriend. It is a bit interesting.
Oh, the dad. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Can't answer the dad call. That's tough.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, the old man's been a really big supporter for me in getting the cafe open. So it's a bit frustrating sometimes when you can't do all that, and you're kind of on. We shut 1 day a week, so that's my one day where it's like I go to the pub, I watch UFC, and I've done this twice now, but like that's kind of how I use it.
Yeah, that's great. So that's the kind of things that we'll kind of tip into when we're chatting here, what we'll be chatting about. I also love the idea about just talking about cafe culture, both from, I want listeners on this podcast who just love coffee and go into cafes and do it, or homebrewers, and then I want the deeper diving kind of barista that's like really into it. But I love the idea of exploring that jumping over the bar of the cafe and exploring what it means to be a barista and what customers and that might not understand. So one of the things that I'm saying, like, if you're a customer, and this is something I think your cafe is going to change, if you come into a cafe and go up to the coffee machine and start trying to talk to the barista, they will want to kill you. They may be smiling, they may be nodding along, but you notice they're just smiling and nodding as they do it. In their head, they're going, go and sit down, go and sit down, go and sit down, leave me alone. And it is the most frustrating thing when you have a line of 20 dockets lined up and then you have someone popping over the top of the coffee machine and coming in. And customer, that is not your fault. It's hospitality. They should be there for you and should be able to do it. I think Kirk's Bar is a great one because they're lowering that load of what you need to do with their machinery, with their methods, with how they're doing it, so that the barista can talk more about the coffee. Because at the end of the day, you're a coffee shop. The barista should be able to stop and talk to the customer and say, we're using this. We're creating this type of drink for you. This is what it's going to taste like. This is where it's from. But I don't think they have the opportunity. So just know that if you're talking to a barista over the coffee machine, they probably want to rip your head off.
Sometimes, but we're trying to build a system where we don't have to do that. So what Rowan's kind of alluding to there is that we're a big focus of the business that I'm trying to build, is that we lean into machinery and technology. I feel like there's this there used to be this resistance to baristas embracing automation sort of thing, because it's like, well, this will take our jobs. But now there's a situation where there are more jobs available in Melbourne for making coffee than there are people to fill them. So what do you do there? So for us, we lean into the machinery. It's like that expensive grinder, it's not an expense, it's an investment, because it saves you more time. I can communicate with people a bit more. My staff, we were talking the other day about there's baristas now that have never tamped. So that's like the pressing the puck. And
I feel so damn old when you tell me that they're, because I guess baristas might be in that kind of 18 to 25 range.
Yeah.
That these kids have never tamped before because the puck pressure's dum, dum.
Yeah. But we've got machinery that's so precise now, that does its job so well, that we, as we've made the decision to lean into that, and so that we can, be more engaging with our customers, have a better conversation, fetch them a glass of water, give them a sample of one of the, great coffees that we've got on offer. And I feel like that's always the part. Coffee will always be a human. And it'll always be best enjoyed over human interactions. So when I say that, it's like the human, the barista, will never leave the coffee shop. I certainly hope it won't. That's the difference between us and the 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
But leaning into that machinery, and no one wants to lean over and steam a milk jug for 8 hours a day. Get an RSI in your neck. We do that with our phones enough. Spines are all getting curved and whatnot.
Speaking of today, it's getting sore.
So, I feel like that's the way it's headed.
There's one thing that your cafe is doing, you might have touched on it briefly, but I think it's super cool. One of the biggest forms of highway robbery that roasters have ever done on cafes was when they sold the idea that you needed to use a double ristretto for every single coffee order made. And for those of you who don't know, a double ristretto is basically just a concentrated coffee shot. So it still comes out of both spouts, use both sides, but you pull it short. So it's meant to be more flavorful and big, but you can still have a lot of milk in it. And so a lot of cafes are just pulling double ristrettos for every shot. So they're like, I'm going through 100 kilos a week. But from what before you were getting 2 coffees out of, you're now just getting 1. And you're just burning through so much coffee without doing it. You've now got, a 25 gram dose? Yeah, can you explain this? I think this is genius.
So, and look, I'll just say from the outset here, there's no one answer for coffee, because, pardon me, everyone roasts their coffee differently. And so, for us to sit here and say, "Oh, double ristretto is bad," it's not really. It doesn't apply to everything.
I don't think it's bad. I'll rip a double ristretto often. I just mean more so like from a side of like a cafe. If you're trying to make money and be efficient, a double ristretto probably isn't the way to get there.
Yeah, you're not going to get the most yield out of your coffee. And so we've developed this system where we're not looking at how many like a basket to make one coffee. We're kind of looking at how much coffee do we use per coffee. So, for example, we're trying to lower that to about 12 to 13 grams per coffee rather than 20. So we've developed a system where we feel like we can do that by using a sort of a higher dose. And I won't give all my IP away, but
am I giving away stuff here? Should I not have brought that up?
No, we won't give it all away, but
Okay.
you have to. But there's a whole science to that as well. Coffee's a lot of physics, a lot of chemistry, and a lot of mathematics.
And the police are here to pick up Kirk.
Paramedics.
Paramedics.
Yeah. Future use overdosing on the sidewalk over there. I don't know.
It'll be funny if no one can hear that in the background and we're just talking about random noises.
But
There was an ambulance if anyone didn't hear it.
But yeah, like coffee's a lot of, and we'll dive into this in future podcast episodes as well. Coffee's a lot of mathematics, a lot of chemistry, a lot of physics, and a lot of ratios as well. So basically, we're just taking I'm trying to take a scientific approach to coffee that really the customers don't need to know anything about. Mm-hmm. They just come in, they pay their money, they get the good service, and they leave. And it's made quicker, it's made more precise, and hopefully quite delicious as well.
Absolutely, and I can say that your coffee is very delicious.
Thank you.
Well, that kind of probably wraps us up for time, what we're talking. We just want to do a brief introduction. I tell you what, I've had a lot of fun. It's been great. I'm excited to do many more of these with you.
No, I am as well, but there was one spicy take I wanted to include before. One more spicy
we're
take.
still going. One more spicy take. Man, we're getting through all of these. We won't have any more left for the rest of the shows.
The long black is going.
Oh, the long black?
The long black's out.
Why?
Because filter coffee's coming back in. Filter coffee. Filter coffee, people. It's a less harsh, more delicious long black. I'm sorry, Rowan.
Yep.
And it's quicker to make. It's just like, it's 0 calorie and you feel great drinking it. So filter coffee's in, long blacks are out.
That's a hot take.
Yeah.
And I disagree with you completely.
All right. Did you give a spicy take before?
I think I gave a spicy take. Oh, my spicy take might have been that Starbucks got it right.
Oh, that is spicy.
Yeah, that is a very spicy take.
That is pumpkin spicy latte.
That is pumpkin spicy latte.
Yeah.
Also, are we going with the spicy take? I thought the extra hot take based off an extra hot latte was a funny coffee relation. But are we off it? I feel like we got spicy take a lot.
And that's the thing, the beauty about filter coffee and long blacks, to be fair, is they're extra hot.
There you go.
So if you like it extra hot.
So it is an extra hot take.
Yeah, yeah. But, that's hell of a way to wrap up the first episode, Rowan. And, put it there, Governor.
Pleasure. That was so much fun.
And remember,
it's just coffee, guys. It's just coffee.
It's just coffee.
It's just coffee.